Thomas, have you ever seen the show Deadliest Catch on TV?
Totally, like Mike Rowe's my hero.
Well, it turns out crabs aren't the only thing they're fishing out of that sea up there.
That's right. In fact, Jigsaw's newest product, cod liver oil, is sourced and caught right there in the Bering Sea, literally from ships that are berthed right at Dutch Harbor, the same harbor where the boats from Deadliest Catch are. So not only are they caught there, but they're actually flash frozen right on the individual ships that catch them. So that means that there's not any kind of oxidation that occurs or anything like that. They're just frozen right there on the spot before they even get back to the harbor.
So I would imagine that really captures the essence of the pure nutrients that they're getting by freezing it so quickly.
Totally. As soon as oxygen hits that kind of stuff, it oxidizes and it becomes somewhat useless.
Tell me about cod liver oil. What is it?
So it's really like the name implies. I mean, it literally is the liver of a cod, which sounds kind of disgusting at first, but in reality, it's something that we're very, very deficient in as humans because we're not getting a lot of the vitamin A and the vitamin D that's coming from that.
Naturally occurring vitamin A and vitamin D.
Exactly, because normally we have like a synthetic form that we're getting from a lot of supplements, and that's not the route we want to go. But when you look at cod liver oil, not only do you have a wide spectrum of omegas, you have what's called the EPA, the eicosapentaenoic acid, you have the DHA, which is called the docosahexaenoic acid, but you also have something very unique, which is known as DPA, which is docosapentaenoic acid, which I like to call the forgotten omega. And really what that does is that helps us determine what inflammation is going to do within the body. You see, we hear all the time that fish oil, like when you consume EPA or DHA, it's going to help reduce inflammation in the body. And that's all fine and dandy. But if we don't have DPA, this forgotten omega, we can't really modulate what's happening because that is what's called a pro-resolving mediator, which helps turn inflammation on and helps turn it off at specific points in different places within the body. So it's very, very critical for these very minute processes in the body that have a huge impact overall.
So what makes the Jigsaw cod liver oil different than most that you can find on the market?
Well, for one, like I mentioned, it's flash frozen right there on the boat, like right after it's caught. But then it's taken right back to Dutch Harbor and it's actually processed there. You see, ordinarily, like any kind of cod liver oil or fish oil for matter, when they're caught, they're usually shipped all over the world and then processed. So like, for example, they could be sourced off the coast of South America and then flown up to the Nordic regions and actually processed there. Obviously, that's putting a lot of stress on the oil and putting it to a lot more oxygen, which means it's going to oxidize. Now, of course, the other thing that we have to pay attention to is Jigsaw's cod liver oil doesn't have other oils added into it. See, a lot of times you'll find that cod liver oils are cut with additional oils in order to boost the omega values. But what we have to remember is we're not really looking for omega-3 in the way of EPA and DHA out of cod liver oil. We're not looking for massive amounts of that. We're looking for that DPA and the vitamin A and the vitamin D. So why add the extra oils that are going to end up muddying the water and make it so it's not as good of a product when we can go right to the source and get the right amount of vitamin A and vitamin D that we would ordinarily have to get from eating copious amounts of organ meats, which I personally don't want to do.
Yuck.
And we ultimately end up getting the right omega balance that we truly need.
It comes down to quality, not quantity.
Exactly,
in this case.
exactly. It's just a matter of getting exactly what you need in exactly the right amount.
That makes sense. So you're saying Dutch Harbor isn't just known for the deadliest catch, it's known for the healthiest catch.
It's a pretty good one.
So get your bottle today, jigsawhealth.com, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.